It is 12:03, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Roll call.
Alex Cantu, present.
Escucho present.
Armin Garza present. And I guess that I kind of heard everybody coming at the same time. So I guess with that, we do have everybody. So Dr. Science, I do declare a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Up next, Dr. Science, do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
Okay, so with that given that, I hand it over to you.
Thank you. On the superintendent's report, the first item is the enrollment report as of January 26, 2021. On this day, we had 12,167 elementary students, 14,535 secondary students, for a total of 26,702 students, which is 822 students less than at this day last year. Are there any questions on the enrollment report? The next item is recognition of 2019-2020 Educational Results Partnership, Texas Honor Roll Schools. Mr. Martin Munoz, Assistant Superintendent for C&I, will do this recognition.
Mr. Board President, Oscar Salinas, Madam Superintendent, Dr. Science, ladies and gentlemen of the board, and distinguished guests and community. We want to thank you for allowing us to recognize the 2019-2020 Educational Results Partnership, Texas Honor Roll Schools. The 2019-2020 Honor Roll is developed by the Educational Results Partnership, the ERP. It's a nonprofit organization that applies data science to help improve student outcomes and career readiness. ERP maintains the nation's largest database on student achievement and utilizes this data to identify high-performing schools and districts. Schools that receive the ERP Honor Roll distinction have demonstrated consistent high levels of student academic achievement, improvement in achievement levels over time, and a reduction in achievement gaps among student populations. For high schools, the ERP Honor Roll recognition also includes measures of college readiness. So we are proud to recognize the following schools as ERP Texas Honor Roll Schools by the educational and business leaders in Texas. So we have E.B. Reina Elementary, Principal Ms. Lucina Lara Garza. We have JFK Elementary, Principal Ms. Maria C. Guerra. William J. Clinton Elementary, Principal Ms. Alma Perez. Tabasco Elementary, Principal Ms. Karen Villarreal. Jose de Escandon Elementary, Principal Ms. Mary Sepúlveda. Enrique Kiki Camarena Elementary, Principal Ms. Mary Lily Garza Ibarra. Jimmy Carter Early College High School, Principal Ms. Claudia Gomez Perez. And Thelma R. Salinas STEM Early College High School, Principal Mr. Victor Rodriguez. Congratulations to these campuses and the communities that they serve. Great job, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Munoz, and congratulations to our honor roll schools and all our principals. Congratulations, principals. We're very proud of your work. The next item is recognition of students from our T-STEM academies who participated in the Texas High School Aerospace Scholars Virtual Experience with NASA's Johnson Space Center. Mr. David Cavazos, our high school science coordinator, will do this award.
Good afternoon, Board President Mr. Salinas and board members, Dr. Sines and the members of the community. I'm Mr. David Cavazos, the science coordinator for high schools, and today I have the honor of presenting La Joya ISD T-STEM students for the 2020 school year. At this time, I would like to recognize the NASA Texas High School Aerospace Scholars for 2020, Ms. Anayi Garcia and Mr. Ruben Guerrero from Palmview High School T-STEM Academy, and David Campos from Juarez Lincoln High School T-STEM Academy. And a little information about the program. Texas High School Aerospace Scholars is an authentic STEM learning experience for Texas high school juniors to engage in NASA's mission and become the next generation of explorers. Like-minded students compete on an online curriculum in exploration and discovery. The highest achieving students were invited to attend a 5-day virtual experience plus a 2-day on-site to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas during the summer. Due to COVID-19, students experienced the on-site experience virtually this summer. Students were mentored by NASA scientists and engineers and worked in teams to plan a mission to the moon and to Mars. And again, congratulations to Anayi Garcia and Ruben Guerrero from Palmview High School T-STEM Academy and David Campos from Juarez Lincoln High School T-STEM Academy. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, students, for your amazing work. We're very proud of your accomplishment. Keep up the great work, NASA scholars. Thank you. That concludes the superintendent's report, Mr. Salinas.
Thank you so much, Doc. Moving on, guys, to the next one. Discussion items. B, discussion of La Jolla ISD School District social and emotional support services for students and staff.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Science, and community members joining us today. Today we'll be presenting to you on social and emotional support services that the La Jolla ISD offers to students and staff. Okay, can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first we're going to be talking about what La Jolla ISD is offering to our employees as support during this pandemic. Okay, some of the support measures that here in our district that we're doing for our staff is we work very closely in establishing remote work protocols. And one of the new requirements that we're going to be asking our employees is, in order for us to mitigate the exposure, we're asking employees to inform their immediate supervisors if they would not be able to be working from home. Sometimes, you know, employees would go to maybe visit some family members and they would be working from there. And we would like to know, because that way we would be better prepared in case that employee needs to come back into the to the work site, and we establish different procedures as far as testing and so forth that we will be talking a little bit more further down. We also did a reopening plan, which we implemented various employee safety protocols, which a lot of those included some PPE equipment. We offered our employees masks. We established disinfection stations throughout the campuses and the offices. Another thing that we did, we put desk shields guards on all student desks. And we also provided it to the staff. Now that they're coming in and they're doing instruction from the classroom, they also have a shield on their desk. And another thing that we did, we put temperature scanners. As employees are coming into the building, they use a temperature scanner to check their temperature and answer the COVID self-diagnosis COVID questions. We also provided safety posters that are put at various areas among the different campuses and offices. Through the HR department, we are working on, we did various presentations on ADA compliance, and we are offering our employees accommodations if for some reason they're unable to come into work. So we try to accommodate the employees as they request. One of the things, with the help of the board, we did a resolution that we continue paying our employees while they're working remotely. And that would give employees a peace of mind and for their well-being, their own well-being. Another resolution that was approved, where the board approved an additional 5 days to use for COVID reasons. One of the new measures that we are implementing, as we discussed it in the crisis team, to now that the vaccine is coming out and employees are taking the vaccine, we as a district are going to allow our employees to use some of those COVID days to go and get the vaccine. And also, when the new vaccine, we've heard that there's a lot of side effects that could be a little bit harsh on the employee. And if they're unable to work from home, they could use some of those COVID days to be out in case they are unable to work remotely. That is something new, and that is we would be informing as a matter of fact, we informed our principals last week, and we would be issuing out documentation right after the board meeting to notify all of our employees. And of course, this will be retroactively to give them peace of mind that, you know what, even though you went last week to go get your vaccine, you can use one of those days. Okay. As a district, we applied and we received rapid response testing. This initiative was put out by the state, and we applied, and we've been doing this since we came back after the Christmas vacation. And we're able to identify employees that may be asymptomatic and or those that may have some of the systems. We're able to test them, and we can act up more faster as what we need to do with them. We also allowed employees to have shift schedules to reduce personnel in buildings. Of course, if an employee is an employee that we need to be in daily, we are doing that, of course, in order to meet the needs of our students and our staff. Another one that the board approved was a T-test waiver, and this one will give teachers peace of mind because it's a waiver to not have teacher evaluations and principal evaluations, especially when it comes to the academic goal that principals normally get evaluated on. I mean, that's a good, will give them peace of mind that they don't have to worry about that this year. Okay. That we also applied for a waiver for 4 additional staff development days. And what we ask principals is that they do implement a half-day professional development and a half-day wellness activities so that employees can relax and can get involved and give them more information on wellness activities with them. Okay. One of the last things that I want to cover is the employee assistance program. This benefit is La Jolla as the employees are enrolled in the employee assistance program, and this program is managed by Magellan Healthcare. This program offers confidential services to all of our employees as well as their dependents, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this is offered 365 a year. This is their phone number where they can call, they can schedule an appointment, or they can go online and access their benefits. Some of the key programs that the Magellan Employee Program offers is one right here. I mean, there's a listing here, but I would like to concentrate on counseling. You know, they offer support for anxiety, stress, grief, and they can do it in person, by text, by phone, video conferences. I mean, this is a great benefit to our employees that they have access to. And this comes free with their medical program. Okay, I'm not going to go through each one of them. Next, as part from the custodial department, in order to for the well-being of both students and staff, and they can feel more secure, our custodial department enhance their building disinfecting protocols. I mean, they're doing more of those more often. Like I mentioned earlier, we installed hand sanitizer dispensers at all the buildings. We have the temperature machine that can check temperatures for employees and so forth.
Mr. Trevino,
yes,
you want me to chime in, if I may?
Go ahead, Mr. Rivera.
Which board? Yes. So the temperature scanners, we have one at every campus. And they actually allow our staff they allow them to check in without having a secretary or getting risk of getting contracted with COVID. We also spaced and equipped every student desk at every campus following CDC guidelines to safeguard and comply with not only state but federal mandated guidelines and ensure the peace of mind and safety of our staff and our students. More so, our custodial department is also providing hand sanitizing pumps at all classrooms for every teacher and even secretaries and office staff as well. And they can fill them upon request. We have an abundance of thank to you, board, and our superintendent of schools and our crisis team. We were able to order and have more than a 6-month supply for every classroom of hand sanitizing pumps for every classroom in the district and office in the district as well. And they can be and will be and are being refilled upon request. For minor outbreaks, we also have every head custodian and we also have a team of custodial supervisors that are trained and equipped to immediately disinfect and sanitize any area, small areas that may come up, were in contact or were occupied by an employee who came up positive with COVID. And of course, if we have major outbreaks and need to, we are also ready to outsource. Our compliance department also equipped every campus with a portable air purifier, which is a very, very good resource for our campuses. Every campus is equipped with an air purifier. Air purifier does between 2,000 and 3,000 square feet. So they've been placed in the front of the building, front office area. So the air is being purified as well, and or at the campus principal's request. We also have incorporated our disinfecting protocol to use industrial scale purifiers. So these are large purifiers. If we have an outbreak at a large scale to take care of the people that are coming in to do the disinfecting and sanitizing, we have large-scale air purifier sanitized as well by our compliance department. So we are doing everything that we can and have been to ensure that our students and our staff and the community and the board have peace of mind when coming into our buildings and our schools. We want to make them as not only safe with fences and gates, but safe with the air that they're breathing, and the major touch point areas are being sanitized on a very high frequency.
Thank you, Mr. Villarreal.
Sir.
So this is our presentation when it came to employees. Next, we have the student and social emotional support measures for our students.
Mr. Trevino and Miriam, before you begin, Miriam, I just want to add, as far as the employee support, that because we did have the Hidalgo County vaccine clinics on site, and because most of our administrators are approved to be COVID-19 testers, most of our administrators were able to get the vaccine through one of our clinics. And so that was another way of supporting our staff. And then also just a note that our La Jolla ISD clinic is approved to administer vaccines. They are just waiting on a shipment of vaccines. But as soon as they get their shipment, we will have vaccines available at our clinic also.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Science.
Thank you. Before we move on to the students, I know in Joel's presentation, it said the shifting of schedules. And maybe Dr. Science, I don't think Mr. Trevino would know all of the department's schedules, but are all the departments allowed to decide their own shifting, or how is that being taken care of?
Yes, either assistant superintendents working with their directors determine the amount of time that employees are needed and whether they are essential workers or not. And so assistant superintendents are working with their directors because every department is different and different needs. And so it is based on department need, working in conjunction with the assistant superintendents.
Okay, thank you. And then the other thing that I was going to suggest, because when I asked for this item, I was mostly thinking of the support in terms of emotional support for teachers. And I think that the AEP program that we have with the district is very, very good. And perhaps maybe a flyer or a reminder on on our webpage or whatever, just to let people know, because a lot of people still feel that there's a stigma when you have to ask for help, and teachers are really experiencing, they're having problems with their kids and then the kids at school, and it's just a different mixture of challenges that they're facing. And so just reassuring the teachers that there's an opportunity to seek help without anyone knowing, and that it's okay to feel overwhelmed. These are very trying times, and especially, well, all teachers, I'm not going to say just teachers who have children of their own, all teachers, everybody is experiencing different things, and they're experiencing loved ones that are ill or other things like that. And so they just need help emotionally. I commend you for all the work that has been done to do all the physical compliance and everything that's been installed and everything that's been talked about by Mr. Villarreal and Mr. Trevino. But I am more concerned with the emotional well-being of teachers, so that they can continue to be a good support system to our students.
Dr. B, let me just go ahead and add on that. I know Magellan sends out flyers once a month or every 2 weeks, and we are trying to submit those to district distribution so that their employees are aware and they can see those flyers as a reminder that this service is available to them. We also have information on our website related to Magellan, Dr. B. So, and we will continue that effort to keep our employees informed that is available to them, so that they can call, and everything is confidential through that.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Benavides.
Yes, good afternoon, Board President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Science, and guests. I am MYRIAM TELLEZ, the School Counseling Director, and with me I also have Ms. Gracie Gonzalez. She's a substance abuse counselor at Juarez Lincoln High School, representing our school counseling community today. And this afternoon, I will provide a brief description of the student social emotional support measures that we have in place. So stay there, Mr. Joel, thank you. So I will discuss 3 areas with the biggest impact on our department's efforts to support the school, the social emotional health of students during this pandemic. First, the virtual school counseling protocols. Second, the importance of our partnerships with outside agencies that provide mental health support. And third, the professional development we have in place for counselors, teachers, and staff. Okay, sir? The school counseling department virtual school counseling protocols include the school counseling plan and the virtual student crisis protocols. Following the ASCA position for the pandemic, we have a focus on the knowledge, skills, and attitudes students need to achieve academic success, college and career readiness, and social and emotional development. The plan calls for continued support of students through guidance lessons, individual and group counseling. All counselors have Google Classrooms and Google Voice numbers. Counselors remain committed to support students and parents every day. They are available for students through classroom guidance, phone calls, emails, and support groups. The virtual student crisis protocol changed to accommodate our new teaching modality. As a virtual school counselor, every counselor adheres to the same legal and ethical guidelines as school counselors working face-to-face with students. Therefore, if an emergency presents itself, counselors will make every effort to contact parents or guardians to conduct an emergency parent conference. If parents cannot be reached, the counselor will contact the La Joya ISD Police Department or the City Police Department for a welfare check. Counselors will follow up with students and make the necessary outside referrals as needed. Okay, sir? With this slide, I need to make the following disclosure. Since the pandemic began, the school counselors noticed a decline on student crisis and CPS referrals, a trend that we saw nationwide. So far this year, counselors have completed 40 emergency parent conferences for letalities. Last year at this time, we had approximately 120 of those. However, other supports in place include support groups at the 3 high schools. These groups are open to all students if in need. In many instances, teachers and friends of students make the referral. Topics include loss of a loved one, dealing with stress and anxiety, dealing with COVID, and self-care and burnout. Many counselors and teachers are committing to practicing mindfulness, an online platform used prior to instruction for 5 minutes to calm down, breathe, and relax. Many home visits have been made following the appropriate safety guidelines for COVID. Many counselors have implemented evening phone calls to students and parents because that is what the situation calls for right now. And again, the teachers are our primary source of referrals in many instances. This year, the school crisis team has specifically responded to schools to provide counseling support for the death of a student and or the death of a staff member. And this includes Perez Elementary, Cavazos Elementary, Zapata Elementary, Garza Elementary, Diaz Villarreal Elementary, Juarez Lincoln High School, and Palmview High School. Okay, sir. Now, this is where our outside partners have really stepped in to help our students in the community. For example, we have met with Texas Tropical at least 3 times this year to check up on students so that our counselors can follow up. So what Texas Tropical has stated to us is the community, the students, are going directly to them. They are, in fact, in many instances, jumping us. Again, a trend that Texas Tropical has seen across the region. If students and families need mental health support, they are going directly to them. So Texas Tropical Behavioral Center is currently serving 200 of our students. Advancing Together is currently servicing 400 of our students. Communities in Schools is servicing students in 26 of our district schools. And TCHAT, the Texas Child Access Through Telemedicine, which is really teletherapy, from UTRGV and the School of Medicine will serve students at Garcia and Dr. Science Middle School this year. It is a pilot program and we are working with them through a grant and a partnership. Okay, sir? And this is my last slide. And as a counseling department, we saw the need to increase professional development for counselors, teachers, and staff. This is our highest impact activity. The more awareness that we provide, then the more they have the knowledge to be able to identify not only mental health needs, but student needs in general, so that we can make the appropriate referral for in-district and out-of-district support. The following have been ongoing trainings from our school counseling department: the mental health first aid, the Inner Explorer mindfulness, OVEA's bullying prevention program, the Jason Foundation suicide prevention, trauma-informed care, classroom management, college career and life readiness curriculum and platform, and the knowledge for social emotional learning framework. I think, sir. And this concludes my presentation, and I am happy to entertain any questions that you might have. Thank you, Mr. Trevino.
Ms. Reyes, good afternoon. I
Yes,
just wanted to, it's so appropriate that you're presenting to us today, and I wanted to take this time to thank you and all our counselors and wish them a happy Counselors Week. They are the heart of our schools. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of them for all their work. It doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate everything, all their efforts they make to ensure the well-being of our students, and of course, especially during this pandemic. So you can pass on the message to all of them on behalf of all of us here. Thank you.
Absolutely, Dr. Cantu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I was going to commend you, Miriam, for the professional development afforded to the counselors, because I know that in order to be able to help others, they have to be okay themselves. And I know that a lot is demanded of them. So Dr. Cantu said it well, so I'm not going to repeat it, but happy Counselors Month to all the counselors for the work that they're doing. I think that the fact that parents are going directly to other agencies, the fact that Tropical has 200 and Advancing Together has 400, and I think that it tells us that there is a great need for support because parents don't know what to do. so they, immediately seek help outside. And it's good that we have these agencies that are helping on the outside. But that was my one of my reasons why I wanted to see what else was being done, because I know a lot of parents are seeking outside help. And I also know that we have excellent counselors in our district. And so I was wondering about that, but you answered, and it does confirm what I was thinking. I had several questions. One of them is, the counselors, are they, how are they reaching out to those 1,400 kids that do not have connectivity? How are we ensuring that those kids have contact with their counselor? Do the counselors have a list of those students that don't have connectivity?
Actually, yes, Dr. Benavides. As you speak to other counselors on all the campuses, principals are very aware of what children do not have connectivity. Counselors have been in combination with parent liaisons or social workers and with the appropriate guidelines, following CDC guidelines. And I mean, maybe we don't have specific for home visits, but they drive to the houses, they stay on the outer perimeter. They have been reaching out to students at the Juarez Lincoln area, and that's one of the reasons that I invited Mrs. Gonzalez to be here with me, because an area of high need in that particular area, we have a lot of our counselors reaching out to students via telephone, and kids coming in and driving by. Even as we talk about our college transition specialists, they tend to even stand on the outside and have parents, come in and complete with them the necessary documents. So we are reaching out to kids via telephone, either going and visiting or making home visits. But the efforts are being done at all levels, from elementary to high school, in all aspects, following, of course, the planning with their campus principals.
I also wanted to commend the Palmview High School counselors, because I know they started those support groups, and then the other high schools continued. And I thought that was an excellent idea of helping kids come together and discuss certain topics. So special commendations to them for getting it started, and of course to all the other high schools for doing it. I wanted to know also, for the top students who feel overwhelmed with class ranking and all that, are those students being contacted, and how are they supporting? Because I know that kids get very stressed with this, and I'm just wondering about them.
We have the same plan in motion. Our students, we have a lot of students that are seeking help due to stress and anxiety. In many instances, and we saw as the semester ended or as ranking started, students that have experienced failure, that have really never experienced failure. I had a conversation just with one particular counselor yesterday as I prepared for this presentation, and what they're seeing is the need to talk to kids, and they're reaching out to them. A lot of them is because of stress, because of grades, but further input from the counselor and further questioning from the counselor, she discovered that the student had not logged in for a week and a half. And this is a top student. So the needs are there, Dr. Benavides. When questioning the student, the counselor found out that not only did she feel anxious and nervous because she was failing, but she had also been doing some, not logging in, but also working a little bit to help the family. So there are a lot of need. I know, and I did hear your request, Dr. Benavides, to find out how many of our kids have experienced loss. And I did consider for a moment maybe asking the counselors to reach out to every student. And then I refrained from that, Dr. Benavides, because I thought that it would be a difficult aspect or question to pose. We function well, but even me personally, if you ask me directly about the loss that I suffered and the family members that I've lost, different feelings come back. So I did refrain from asking the counselors to reach out for a specific question. I just wanted to make sure that if there were continuous efforts for counseling due to loss, that they are included in group and in individual. I did, when we spoke to Texas Tropical, it seems that it was just around, really around the region. The fact that we don't see the kids face to face every day maybe makes them feel that we are not there. So I was happy to know that we are putting out the information as to where families can search for help, so that if they need to do it, they do it. And even if they think that we might not be there, but we have increased our presence on Facebook, on our La Jolla ISD school counseling platform, bringing a little mini lessons to families, suicide prevention, mental health issues. We have increased our resources online so that if they click a link, they can find information. We requested all our counselors to update their campus counseling page so that students and families could easily find information, or that they can find us. High school counselors put out their Google numbers, not only on our Facebook, but on their campus web pages. So all their Google numbers and their Google classrooms and the links are available to students. In many instances, those links remain open the entire day. Even for our top kids that are still worried about applying for a scholarship or applying for something else. If you check with our virtual Go centers, the link and the room is open all day long for kids. So we're finding and we're trying to identify student needs wherever we can, if it's through parents, through friends, through teachers. That's why increasing the awareness, it's what is helping us identify the kids. But we do realize the great need that we have.
Yes, and I do want to make one thing clear. I never intended for you to go and ask how many students have suffered loss. That was not my intent. I think that good communication, one-to-one communication with counselors would know which students have lost someone. That would be totally unnecessary to go ask who had lost a loved one. What do you find to be the area that has been the highest area of concern that children are expressing a need? What seems to be the prevailing issue right now?
Honestly, Dr. Benavides, it's financial need. I think that as we actually hear from families, that have lost a child or have lost a parent or have lost, we have been seeing a lot of financial need. Our kids are spending some time working. When we have lost a child, there's been a couple of instances in which we responded to campuses where a child has passed away. I think that families are searching for financial support from the district, and it has been difficult for us to be able to do that. They appreciate us being there. They appreciate us talking to them, making ourselves available for talking and for support. But the highest need right now, that's what we see. A lot of our parents have lost employment or has been diminished. And a lot of our students feel the need to help their family. And as we talk to the older students, some of that might be a reason of them not logging in continuously or not submitting assignments on time. Is there anything, Ms. Gonzalez, that at the high school level you've noticed that maybe I've missed?
No, I agree. In calling, especially the seniors, the graduating seniors, a lot of them will have to make phone calls in the evening because they're working. And, I make sure, at least make sure that you're logging in, talk to your teachers, make sure that you're letting them know and catching up with your homework, because otherwise you're not going to make it. And that is a big issue, as Ms. Tejas was saying. The families are needing the financial help, and they probably see the kids at home not doing anything according to, I'm just making that up, but that they may be at home and they send, assuming, yes. So,
thank you, Gracie. I know that the additional LPC counselors, that's a very good resource. And so I'm happy for that. Are the LPC counselors housed at the campuses?
What will happen with that, Dr. Benavides? We are starting, they are getting referrals starting this week. We spent about a week and a half setting protocols and checking with legal just to make certain that we were doing the correct thing, just because they have a different type of license. So the licensed professional counselors will be servicing a cluster. They will be housed at a middle school level office. We've made arrangements with 3 different principals, and they will be servicing students in that particular cluster. Mr. Gonzalez will service the Palmview area. Mr. Peña will service the La Jolla area, and Mr. Guajardo will service the Juarez Lincoln. And just yesterday at our counseling meeting, I told the counselors that today or tomorrow, I told them we will meet. I will send them a link so that we can have about 10 minutes, just so that we can put the protocols out there. They're ready to take referrals starting this week. They're set.
That's good. The last item I have is for the parents. Just ensuring how the parents are being notified of all the counseling services, because you are providing a lot. And so how are the parents getting this information? And perhaps Dr. Science, maybe meeting at your roundtable. I know it's not called a roundtable, but it's the same purpose. A meeting on just the services that are provided for students and support that is there, so that parents can feel that they have someone at the school level that they can turn to, because referrals to the Texas Tropical and Advancing Together, all those are costing money to parents. And so just the fact that they can know that there's someone at the school and that they can have a number readily available to provide that kind of support to their kids. Because some parents, and I'm speaking from experience, a parent that is an educator didn't know what to do. I got a call and they told me, tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. Tell me what to tell my child. And so I'm feeling that if parents who are educators feel that way, I can imagine how the other parents feel. So maybe a meeting dedicated to that, and just evaluate in your meetings, MYRIAM, evaluate everything that you could possibly do to let the parents know that you all are available, and so that they can feel that there's support, because we sometimes think that all the parents know, but sometimes they don't know.
Absolutely, Dr. Benavides. We'll take your recommendation. We've increased our presence as much as we can. We will maybe, I'm just thinking right now out loud, we will go ahead and maybe make contact with Ms. Cantu from PR in our Channel 17, and we'll increase our presence in those social media platforms. I know that parents are on social media platforms that will help us, and we'll be happy to present to the parent roundtable. We have presented to the chat committee also, and we have been making those resources available as much as we can on the campus websites. But we'll go ahead and follow through and make sure that we reach as many parents as possible.
And one of the areas that you could highlight definitely is the LPCs.
Absolutely.
Counselors, and talk about their credentials and how you just got that in an effort to help them. We've got to communicate that support is out there, because that's one of the main reasons why we lose students. And so that's my bottom line is, of course, offering the support to the kids, but most importantly, making sure that we keep our kids because they feel that we have supported them in every aspect. But right now, most importantly, the emotional and mental health. So
yes,
thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Dr. Benavides.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tellez. I want to take the time to also, like Dr. Cantu said, and thanking all our counselors, and of course, every counselor out there for everything that they do. And just like Dr. Benavides said herself, communication. And I would like to communicate with Ms. Gracie Gonzalez, because I used to work with her, and I know that in the years past, all our counselors are great, but we've always wanted to clone, Gracie, so that we can have a lot of Gracies out there. And I just wanted to thank her. I had the experience of working with her, but just seeing the work that you do, Gracie, and everything, and all those that are under you, and how you're giving them everything that you've learned out there, because everybody does work, but you're always up there in the core front, and in the trenches and in the crises. And Mrs. Tay is better than anyone, that these counselors, with a section, they won't stop. Sometimes that vehicle can continue to Houston, to San Antonio, back. They'll be out
Absolutely.
2-3 days. So, Ms. Gracie, I think this is the time, with everything that this board has heard today in the community, this is the time to ask for what you need. And I know that this entire board and our administration and our superintendent will come together. But those numbers are very high. So anything that we can do to help out, we're here for that. So thank you, Ms. Gracie, and nice seeing you. And thank you, Ms. Tellez, and to all our counselors, muchísimas gracias por todo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Salinas. We appreciate that, and we will continue supporting our students and our families as much as we can via any avenue possible. Thank you so much.
Anybody else, guys? Any more questions?
I don't have a question, but for our next meeting, because it relates to MYRIAM, and I'm sorry, MYRIAM, that I'm asking her this, but
That's okay, Dr. Benavides.
I read that there was 3,000 students who graduated last year with dual credit from STC who never enrolled in college. And so I would like to see if you can find out, and I'm sure you can, find out if any of those 3,000 students, which I know some of them are ours, so that we could make a contact with them, so that we can see what was the reason why they didn't enroll in college. Because you know what history shows, if you don't enroll right after high school, the chances of you enrolling are less and less. So for our next meeting, I would like a report on these students from STC. How many students are ours that had dual credit that did not enroll in post-secondary education?
Absolutely. We can go ahead and get that report, and I'll go ahead and collaborate also with Mr. Chavez for dual credit, and we'll bring that report to you for the next meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys. No more questions? All righty, moving on to the next one, guys. Item number 2 under discussion and update on the PSI Guaranteed Energy Savings Performance Job Order Contract Projects.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Science. Again, I'm Craig Brusca. I'm the project manager for performance services, giving you an update. I did that back in December, and trying to get us to the next slide. So right now, our HVAC replacements are at 91% complete. We've invoiced just to 87. That was the last board approved invoiced. Next week, you'll be seeing more. That'll be applying for the rest of those that we haven't billed. One of the reasons this has slipped a little bit is we've had a combination of weather and testing. We were going to get the work done in January with the deliveries that are scheduled, but there was testing at Ann Richards, so we pushed it back till earlier this week, and then crane availability was the other issue we had, because these are rooftop units with long spans, so it requires a very large crane. Not a heavy weight, but a long distance. So that's been slowing us down a little bit, but we expect to be fully complete based on deliveries and installation by the end of the month. We're shooting to be done earlier than that, but we are fully confident that all installations will be done by the end of February.
Sir, I'm just going to stop for a while. Blanca, Mr. Garcia's trying to log in. I think he got logged out. Blanca, if you can look at that.
I'm back on.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. Sorry, sir.
He's been there for a while.
Not a problem. So roofing repairs, we were previously at 100%. The Juarez Lincoln solar field is online. We are now 100%. We're in the process of getting our closeout information and final punches and detailed work completed. Whereas Lincoln was previous, got it backwards. La Jolla was online last month. And power conditioning, we have a final report pending return to the district as part of our closeout documentation. And the last remaining part of the energy savings project, artificial turf, we had previously completed Palmview. At Juarez Lincoln, the turf is done. The surface for the track is in place. Because of weather delays, because these are outdoor activities, the crews were slightly delayed, and we had actually lost an entire crew to COVID in December, and they had to be replaced with an alternate crew, which is why we're pushed a little bit back. But the field and tracks will be 100% complete and turned over to the district this month. So the new outside air units, which will improve the air quality within Ann Richards, were installed. The solar fields, they are both online and generating money per the design values. The formal reports will come to the board later, but we are generating the electricity at our targeted rate, so we are confident we will meet our guaranteed energy saving goals for the district. So you can see that the turf field's in place, the track surface is down, and the striping crew, which is following right behind the surface, is going to start the end of this week and finish next week. For the job order contract, security fences and gates are 98% complete. And finish that. All gates will be operational and everything installed as of 2/12, which is next Friday. That is our target completion date. We had some delays from our fabricator. These were COVID related. They had to shut the plant down because of illness and then had reduced staffing. So that delayed getting deliveries of some components. But everything physically is on hand or is going to be picked up from the facility in the next day or so and delivered. So we will have those in place. And in elementary school tracks, the last school, Pena, was completed and is in place. So the new track at Pena, and that was delayed because of having to work with an outside agency, the drainage district, because we were abutting a detention area and reallocating the shape of the detention area there. And then we installed the new motorized gates and tracks. This is an incomplete photo, but we will be finishing Lloyd Benson Elementary School, as I said, by the 12th. Any questions the board has, I'd be more than happy to address.
Anyone, guys?
How are we with payments? Is everything?
Yes, ma'am. We do our payments. We pay all our primary subs, our first tier subs, within 30 days of receipt. Normally it's quicker than that. So once we're paid by the district, we then do that. And once you approve it, we then go to our subs and says, the board's approved it, please give me your pay app. So we sometimes have pay apps waiting to be, I just have to click the pay button as soon and just waiting on the check to show up. So right now, everybody is being paid within that PSI contractual 30 days.
And then as far as our process, Dr. Benavides, we make sure that we get our engineer to sign off on every payment as well. And we review it just to make sure that everything's good to go.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions, guys?
I just have a quick question. When we first started the project, do you by any chance recall what was the estimated cost of the project and where are we at today once we finalize the project, pretty much hit our mark, or we went over budget with this project?
No, we are not over budget on the project. We early on, some members of the board were present then. We de-scoped the night school project and used that to fund some continued discovery and changes. But that, and there's also an allowance that was built in. It was not part of our contract, but it was built into the funding structure that covered asbestos and mold removal. So that was $200,000. So right now we anticipate returning to the budget $247,000.29 when it's all said and done. So we are under the allocated funds for the project.
Thank you.
Any more questions, guys? All righty. Moving on to the next. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Moving on to the next one, guys. B, consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next up, be under letter A, contracts, memorandum of understanding between La Jolla ISD and Texas A&M University.
I'd like to make a motion to approve items 1 and 2 under contracts.
I have a motion by Mr. Garza
Second.
and a second by Ms. Ochoa. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. There is nothing under letter B in bids. Moving on to letter C, business and finance. Item number 1, Mexican American School Board Association District membership.
So move.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Under business and finance, number 2, approval of application of contractor's payment request number 5 for the La Jolla ISD Dr. Science Middle School HVAC renovations.
So move.
I have a motion
Second.
and I have a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. Under letter C, business and finance, number 3, approval of contingency allowed number 6 for the La Jolla ISD Phase 2 PSI Guaranteed Energy Savings Performance Contract Amendment Project Scope of Work.
So move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, guys?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. We do not have anything. Okay, we have one under letter D. Sorry about that. Instruction and student services. Item number 5, approval of the Electronic Sports League.
So move.
And I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, guys?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We do not have anything under human resources. So at this time, under section code 551-071, 551-072, and 551-074, at 12:59, almost 1 o'clock, we'll be going into executive session. Thank you. We are out of executive session, and it is 1:36. Under letter H, personnel, can I have a motion?
I so entertain all items under personnel as discussed in executive session.
Okay, I have a motion for items 1 through 5 as discussed in executive session. Can I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second by Ms. Cantu. All those in favor, guys?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. And now just a quick motion and a second for adjournment.
Second.
Motion and a second. You all stay safe, guys. Thank you. And hopefully see you next time, okay?